Part 93. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 929. Huh? You are again. Seeing Lucifer suddenly defending a human being in this way, the voice seemed to be a little more inquisitive. Sutingu's originally quiet panel suddenly popped up, and a series of mysterious garbled codes suddenly appeared on the interface. What the hell? Sutingu was stunned for 2 seconds, and then quickly turned off the panel. But when Sutingu closed the panel, she felt for a moment a creepy chill, as if she was being targeted by something terrifying. Snort. A few seconds later, the voice snorted, and then all the pressure on Sutingu disappeared. Sutingu straightened up and breathed a sigh of relief. But the next second, Sutingu once again felt that omnipresent gaze focused on her, especially, the death blade in her hand. You actually. The voice rose slightly, as if he had seen some unacceptable fact. Lucifer couldn't understand why the voice was so startled. He said bluntly. If you still have some dignity, don't interfere in worldly affairs. This was true 200,000 years ago, and it will be true today 200,000 years later. If I attack this little girl, do you think you can protect her? She has made a contract with you. If she dies, you will be severely injured even if you don't die suddenly. The voice, his attitude changed drastically and he no longer had the false compassion he had before. Lucifer's eyes were even colder. Are you threatening me? If you think so, that's okay. Lucifer fell silent. Promise first, and then do this. Lucifer heard the voice in his head, his eyes flashed, and then he spoke to the sky. I cannot exterminate all humans, but I must take back the divinity in all humans and the fragments of artifacts left across the continent. Those things do not belong to humans. Can Lucifer, in addition, within 10,000 years, you can no longer interfere with any affairs on this planet, even if all human beings die and all species become extinct. The voice became a little hesitant. Your request is a bit too much. This is what mankind owes us, for countless thousands of years. Lucifer's tone was decisive. If you don't want to, forget it. A human being has not fully contracted yet and cannot threaten me. If he dies, he can just get rid of the shackles of the contract. When the words fell, the world was silent. Sutingu held her breath and waited quietly for the result. That's all, I'll do whatever you want. Finally, the voice gave in. The two men in black robes who were also waiting for the result were quite dissatisfied when they saw the current situation, but they did not dare to do anything else. Seeing that the scene seemed to have calmed down again, Sutingu rolled his eyes slightly and raised his hand to interrupt. Mikhail, when I was traveling in the Yin and Yang continent, I also saw some people who still believed in gods and did not join forces with other humans. It's just that the living space of those groups is too small. Nowadays, the entire continent has serious conflicts between men and women. This is all the result of ignoring certain things in the past. One of the men in black robes yelled angrily, bold. What the hell? You actually insulted. Sutingu interrupted him with an innocent face and asked, oh, so it's not a thing. You should have told me earlier. Sutingu pointed at the sky with one finger. Although he didn't say it clearly, he understood. Calling you a bully. This fairy can't hit you, so I can't greet you. Sutingu looked at Lucifer again. Mikhail, there are humans who still believe in you. Not all humans are guilty. Lucifer must have glanced at Sutingu several times. He couldn't understand this human being. It was obvious that she had been encouraging him to take revenge in the beginning, but now, she came to tell him these words again. Human beings are so complex. Lucifer did not respond immediately and slowly flew back to the ground. Let's talk about it later. Okay, Sutingu responded with a smile. Are we running away now? Lucifer turned his head and glanced at the two men in black robes with his golden eyes. You should get out. You. One of the men in black robes was about to say something when another one stopped him. Afterwards, the two men in black robes flew back into the whirlpool. The next second the vortex disappeared, the world resumed its operation. The Giant Queen, who was originally frozen, turned around and wanted to run away when she saw Lucifer, who had moved away from her at some point. Lucifer saw it and ignored it. Sutinyu asked, "Lucifer, how are you going to take back all the divinity and the fragment of the divine object?" Lucifer turned around, stretched out his hand to pull out the angel's staff, and then gathered his strength and threw it into the sky. The angel's staff was suspended in the air 1,000 meters above the ground, and then it released golden light, slowly covering the entire human race on the continent. What is that? What light is this? Almost at the same time, the same thoughts popped into the hearts of all the humans on the entire continent who saw this scene. Being illuminated by the divine light condensed from the angel's staff, all humans with divinity in their blood suddenly began to howl in pain, and within a moment they were rolling on the ground. Only a few humans without divinity survived. After throwing the angel's staff in the air, Lucifer said, "It will take some time to recover the divinity. During this time, go and recover the remaining fragments of the divine object." "Oh," Sutinyu nodded. After saying that, one person and one god left the Jian palace and began to search for fragments of divine objects on the mainland. Lucifer used the angel sword as a guide and easily found many fragments one after another. During the flight, Sutinyu suddenly said, "Lucifer, are you willing to be my first spirit?" Lucifer was startled for a moment, then nodded gently. The moment Lucifer agreed, Sutinyu's panel popped up. Main mission, return the artifact, completed. Main mission, assist Lucifer to fulfill his wish, to be refreshed. Sutinyu's eyes lit up slightly. After getting Lucifer to agree to become the pack spirit, the latter possessed the death blade fused with the edge of destruction in disguise, and the previous main mission was completed. "Don't worry. You will never suffer any loss with me," Sutinyu assured confidently. Yeah, Lucifer suddenly remembered something and asked, "Can the fragments of the divine artifact and that knife still be sucked?" "Huh? Let me ask," it said. "It's okay." "Then suck it? It shouldn't be a true god yet. Fusing more fragments of divine objects will help it become a god as soon as possible." "Good, good, good." After several days of searching for the artifact fragments, the Death Blade also absorbed a lot of artifact fragments, and some attribute data were significantly improved. Item, Death Blade, bound. Level, False God level, 6/8. Basic function, the other side of the road to the underworld opens, and the night falls, death comes. This is a death blade from the abyss of hell. It can harvest souls, summon the undead and control the undead. It can be immune to soul and mental attacks. Its attributes at night are enhanced by 350%, attributes weakened by 5% during the day, contracted. Spirit of Contract, Fallen Angel Lucifer. The power of the Spirit. 1. Fight with blood. 2. Destroy the ancients. 3. Possession by the Spirit, temporarily unavailable. Durability, 100%. Remarks, don't make trouble, the god of death is coming, be careful to chop you. The current level of Death Blade is still pseudo-god level. It has absorbed all the fragments of divine objects left in the entire Yin and Yang continent. The original progress, 1/8, has become 6/8. If Sutinyu's guess is correct, when the progress reaches full, 8/8, it will be the time when the Death Blade will be promoted to the God level. In addition, due to the real contract between the Death Blade and Lucifer, there is also an ability called the Power of the Spirit. First, the ability to fight with blood is inherited from the Blade of Destruction's ability to absorb blood and convert it into nutrients. In battle, Sutinyu can use the Death Blade to swallow the enemy's blood to maintain his peak condition at all times. Typical: if you can't beat it, you will be killed. In short, it is an ability specifically designed for continuous combat. Secondly, the ability of Destroy the Ancients is equivalent to a sure kill move. It is extremely lethal and requires extremely high physical fitness of the user. If used multiple times in a short period of time, there will be side effects. Third, possession by the pack spirit. Since it is in a state where it cannot be used, Sutingyu cannot know the specific usage and function of this ability. During the search, Sutingyu also learned from Lucifer's mouth the history of the twilight of the gods more than 200,000 years ago. The cycle of light and darkness changes everything in the world, and no race will rule the world for a long time. In ancient times, the gods and humans reached an agreement, and the gods and humans ruled the world respectively over 10,000 years. In the era of the gods, humans obeyed the management of the gods, but in the era of humans, the gods no longer appeared or involved in all human affairs. But this balance was broken by greedy humans. Human beings want to control gods, and even want to cancel the eternal cycle of reincarnation. The story that follows is almost the same as what Sutingyu learned from the underwater murals. Congratulations to the player Angel Su for cracking the hidden world view, Ragnarok. Congratulations to player Angel Su for completing all main quests. You will have priority to obtain special occupations. Once, when Sutingyu was listening to the story with great interest, the panel popped up. She glanced at the panel contents. Huh? Are there any worldview missions? Oh, I remember, it's in the underwater mural. It's been so long, Sutingyu would have almost forgotten it if it didn't pop out now. 30 days later, all the fragments of the divine artifacts were recovered, and the divinity of the yin and yang humans was also removed. From then on, they were just ordinary humans without any special abilities. In addition, Lucifer also adopted Sutingyu's suggestion to eliminate the source of the opposition between yin and yang in yin and yang continent. Then, blessings were given through the angel's rod to protect those humans who still believed in gods for tens of thousands of years, protecting them for a safe and prosperous life. Attention players of light and dark rotation, the main mission of this round of dungeon has been completed. The number of players who have completed all main missions, 1, and the number of players who have not completed all main missions, 19. After review, the special professions in this round of dungeons will be obtained by players who have completed all main missions. Number of places to obtain a profession, 1. Attention, players, the dungeon journey of light and dark rotation is about to end, and all players will be sent out of the dungeon in 2 minutes. Congratulations to the player Angel Su for obtaining the profession of this round's token copy, Lojos Hongtianxing. Player Angel Su is asked to choose items bound to this profession within 1 minute. The countdown begins, 59, 58, 57. Coming. Although I knew that I was the perfect candidate for this round of dungeon professions, I still couldn't rest assured until I saw the notification on the panel. Sutingyu took out the feather and clicked bind. Congratulations to the player Angel Su for successfully binding the professional item, Angel Feathers. Okay, Sutingyu turned to look at Lucifer beside him. I'll give you a hard time and go back to the Death Blade. Yeah, Lucifer had no objection. After Lucifer entered, Sutingyu waited for the transfer of the copy. After 2 minutes passed, Sutingyu left the instance. After Sutingyu left, in the vast sky, the figures of 2 men in black robes appeared in the clouds. The last god in the world has been lost by you like this, and I haven't settled the score with you yet. The voice that had previously spoken to Lucifer came again. Please calm down. It's just a god, it doesn't affect the overall situation. The 2 men in black robes looked frightened and quickly expressed their stance. The overall situation? What's the overall situation now? The extinction of gods, human civil war, the subsequent public beta, yin-yang star. Just quit. The voice paused, then seemed to have made up a lot of determination, gritted its teeth and said, "This. We won't quit yet. We can guarantee that the internal strife will be resolved as soon as possible." Before he finished speaking, the man in black robe suddenly felt a suffocating pressure, forcing him to close his mouth. Dear Angel Suit players, hello, congratulations on successfully completing the main mission and successfully clearing the light and dark rotation dungeon. The settlement is in progress. Obtained occupation, Lujuz Hongtianxing. Obtain a profession-bound item, Angel Feathers. Get game item, Edge of Destruction, Fused. Unlock the Hidden Worldview, 1, crack the Hidden Worldview, 1, gain experience points 11111, game currency 11111, destiny code fragments 3. The proficiency of the junior title Urha Demolisher has reached full level and is now upgraded to the intermediate level Basic Demolition Maniac. Settlement completed. After suiting you read the settlement content on the panel and was about to switch interfaces, a golden light lit up on the panel. The golden light gradually solidified, becoming as big as two of Sutingyu's fists. When the golden light dissipated, an exquisite little man appeared in front of Sutingyu. Sutingyu's eyes widened in surprise. Lucifer. Sutingyu thought she had seen it wrong and blinked her big eyes twice quickly, but in front of her, the pocket version of the little man was exactly the same as Lucifer except for the size and proportions. This is Lucifer. How did he escape? Sutingyu glanced at the panel several times, only to look away after finding that there was no movement on the panel. Lucifer curiously looked at the entire settlement space, then flew to Sutingyu's side, tilted his little head, and asked, "Where is this place? What is this glowing thing in front of you?" Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 930. This, are you talking about? Can you see the panel? Sutingyu tentatively pointed at his panel. Lucifer nodded his little head and asked again, "Panel? Is that the name of this thing? Is this thing what brought me here?" Yes. Sutingyu's eyes were slightly glazed over. Seeing how cute Lucifer looked now, she felt a little unable to accept it. After all, this guy is a terrifying existence that can destroy heaven and earth in Yin-Yang continent. How are you feeling now? Are you feeling uncomfortable anywhere? Sutingyu restrained herself from poking Lucifer's little paw. Hearing this, Lucifer took a closer look at his current state, and then replied, "It's okay, well, my power seems to have been suppressed a lot even flying for such a while now, I feel a little tired." Are you tired? Sutingyu suddenly became energetic, stretched out his left hand, palm up, eager to try, "Then you can rest on my hand for a while." Oh, Lucifer obediently landed on Sutingyu's palm. Today, Lucifer's size is only about the size of a palm, and his weight is as light as a feather. At first, Sutingyu felt that the palms of his hands were a little itchy, but after Lucifer sat down and stayed still, he suddenly felt that the palms of his hands were soft and he wanted to squeeze them. Ahem, I didn't know that such a small one. Will you cry all of a sudden? By the way, can you still go back to the panel? Sutingyu couldn't stay in the settlement space forever. If she left, she wouldn't worry about leaving Lucifer alone in the settlement space as a god. Lucifer turned his head and glanced at the suspended panel, then nodded, "Okay." After answering, Lucifer continued, "Where is your world?" "I will go to your world, right?" It should be okay, right?" Sutingyu was a little unsure. However, Sutingyu can take out game items at will in the real world. Lucifer staying in the inventory can be regarded as his game item in a sense, and he should be able to bring it to the real world. "I want to see your world." Lucifer's voice was calm, not asking, but informing. Okay. Regarding Lucifer, Sutingyu couldn't restrain him like Dahui, so he could only treat the former with tolerance and magnanimity. However, when you go to my world, you can't be seen by others, and you can't do it arbitrarily. The ability to use. Do you know? Lucifer said casually. "Oh." Sutingyu warned again worriedly, "The humans in our world are different from the humans in your world. You can't do anything casually. If you have anything, tell me in advance." "What's the occupation shown above?" Lucifer pointed at the panel. Sutingyu looked up and explained, well, you can understand that this is the reward I get for helping you. The new profession, let me take a look first. Sutingyu was still curious about the level of the new profession he obtained this time. So, Sutingyu immediately spent 5,000 game coins to identify a new profession. Professional level is being determined. Identification is completed. Occupation, Lujus Hongtianxing. Professional binding item, Angel Feather. Professional level, Gold Medal. Professional characteristics, Flying, Wind and Thunder elements. Professional talents. 1 Soaring in the 9 heavens. 2 Hidden Wind and Thunder. 3, Unclear. 4, Unclear. Wow! Gold Medal, Sutingyu was overjoyed. Gold Medal career. This is her highest level profession currently. Happiness really comes too suddenly. Lucifer looked at the panel the whole time, and slowly, he understood a little bit, the career I gave you is naturally good. Hearing this, Sutingyu couldn't help but stretched out the little index finger of her right hand and gently poked Lucifer's little head. How do you know that you gave me my career? Lucifer's statement was not wrong. Sutingyu did get his career because of Lucifer. Moreover, Tianxing's professional talents are also derived from Lucifer himself. It's not difficult. The professional talents are all abilities I know. But just 2? It's too few. Lucifer tilted his head and shook off Sutingyu's fingers. Sutingyu shook his head slightly. There are more than 2, and there are 2 unknown professional talents. The silver medal and bronze medal professions both have only 3 professional talents, but the gold medal profession actually has 1 more. This was beyond Sutingyu's expectation. Just as Sutingyu was about to turn off the panel out of habit, the warmth in the palm of her left hand brought her back to reality. Lucifer, do you want to go inside the panel first? Will I ask you to come out again when you get to my world? Okay. After thinking for 2 seconds, Lucifer stood up, flapped his small wings, turned his whole body into a ball of light, and got back into the panel. Seeing that Lucifer had returned, Sutingyu opened his personal information and clicked on the unfamiliar title. She just saw that a title had been upgraded, so she took a look at the situation. Title, Base Demolition Maniac. Level, Intermediate. Function, increase the destructive power of buildings by 40%. Note, which company has the best social infrastructure? Look for the number 6 and 4. Is this replacing the ERHA demolishing the house? In terms of functionality, it has increased from 30% to 40%, which is not bad. Sutingyu was quite satisfied. The most important thing is that she finally got rid of the damn title of ERHA Destroyer. Congratulations. At this time, Sutingyu's panel interface suddenly switched to the large poster on the main interface, and unusually eye-catching game announcements floated over. Attention all beta testers. The copy of Going Against the Current has been irreversibly destroyed by unknown factors. This copy will be forcibly closed and will no longer be open to players during the public beta period in the future. The Undersea Quest dungeon was irreversibly damaged by unknown factors. This dungeon will be forcibly closed and will no longer be open to players during the future public beta period. The Blood Sea Prison copy was irreversibly destroyed by unknown factors. This copy will be forcibly closed and will no longer be open to players during the future public beta period. The copy of Search for Lost Things was irreversibly destroyed by unknown factors. This copy will be forcibly closed and will no longer be open to players during the future public beta period. The Yin Yang City dungeon was irreversibly destroyed by unknown factors. The dungeon will be forcibly closed and will no longer be open to players during the future public beta period. Sutingyu, Who I am? Where am I? What happened? Notices on the panel floated one after another, all indicating that a certain copy had collapsed. Sutingyu took a cursory glance and found that at least in just 2 minutes, hundreds of notifications about dungeon collapse had appeared. Among the many announcements, Sutingyu accidentally caught sight of some familiar words. For example, Blood Sea Prison. Another example is Yin Yang City. Cough cough cough. Sutingyu suddenly felt a little overwhelmed and felt guilty. No way, it's not really just the same name, right? It must be the same name. Correct. At this moment, the player forum is already exploding. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 931. Different Space. Yin Yang Star announced that it will withdraw from the next open beta. What? Yin Yang Star is in good condition, why? It seems that there is something wrong within the Yin Yang Star. Are you just pretending? To make us relax and careless. For a time, the news that the Yin Yang Star camp had withdrawn from the open beta spread throughout the alternate space. All the administrators had heard about it and were curious. A well-connected alien administrator has already gone to find out the reality of Yin Yang Star. At this time, in the alien space of Yin Yang Star, other alien administrators who happened to come to do business or visit, when they learned the news, they quickly grabbed a Yin Yang Star administrator on the street and asked questions. Among them, a Blue Star administrator with a young face from the east also found someone to entangle with. The Blue Star administrator's tone was playful, even with a hint of schadenfreude. Brother, what's going on with your Yin Yang Star? Didn't you have a lot of fun earlier? Why are you hurriedly exiting now? Why are you here? The administrator of Yin Yang Star felt a headache when he saw this bitch a Blue Star administrator, and said angrily, hurry up, we don't welcome you here. Don't, the Blue Star administrator said with an exaggerated expression, what happened to you? Telling it makes me happy, no, I just feel sorry for you. The administrator of Yin Yang Star said shamelessly, get out. Don't be so angry, stay calm, calm down, be careful if your anger goes wrong, your second life will be lost. The Blue Star administrator changed his tone and said, you really don't want to talk about it? Let's talk about it, brother. What kind of friendship do we have? A powerful friendship. Roll roll roll. Hey, you are no longer interesting. Just when most of the Yin Yang Star administrators were about to be annoyed to death, the Yin Yang Star extra-dimensional space announced that from now on, the Yin Yang Star extra-dimensional space would no longer be open to the public, and other alien administrators who are still staying here, all must be evacuated within 5 minutes. As soon as 5 minutes passed, the Yin Yang Star extra-dimensional space implemented a total closure. As soon as the news came out, the alien administrators who were still lingering all realized that something big had happened to Yin Yang Star this time, and they were going to take action seriously. At the moment, all alien administrators can only leave the alien space of Yin Yang Star. 5 minutes later. After all the alien administrators left, some of the Yin Yang administrators who were still confused but had previously struggled in front of outsiders went to the administrator building to get an answer. What's going on? Farah, you two were injured when you came back. Where are Ruth and the others? It turned out that the two administrators who were lucky enough to survive in Lucifer's hands could only tell the truth truthfully when faced with questions from their colleagues. After the others learned the truth, they looked at the two of them with strong anger and contempt. Good job, you two. You actually have the nerve to come back alive, haha. Just because of your impulsiveness, all of our hard work was ruined. In this matter, Farah and the two were indeed at fault. If they had not violated the rules, interfered with the dungeon midway, and angered Lucifer, maybe when those Blue Star players successfully completed the dungeon mission and left the dungeon world, Yin Yang Star would not have been hit so hard that it would have affected the world. Open beta. Furthermore, if Farah's 20 people can handle this matter immediately, or notify the administrators of other factions to go together to deal with Lucifer, maybe they can press this matter. But now, it has developed into the worst outcome. Yin Yang Star lost the power of a god of its own, and also strengthened the power of blue star players. More importantly, Yin Yang Star was turned upside down by the commotion, and it was impossible to recover in a short period of time. Okay, it's time to scold. Yin Yang Star cannot participate in the public beta. It has become an unchangeable fact. Just do what you have to do. Finally, the two of them were scolded for half an hour. Someone watched. If you don't want to go down anymore, come out and smooth things over. It's really unlucky. Let's go, let's go. After Pharaoh left the administrator's building, they returned to their offices. When there was no one else around, Pharaoh punched the wall in annoyance. No. I won't give in. The Star Master has spoken, do you still want to violate it? Another person said with a sad face and a low tone. Pharaoh turned his head, with a certain paranoia in his eyes. The Star Lord's order is naturally not easy to disobey, but the Star Lord just said that Yin Yang Star cannot participate in the public beta, but local players of Yin Yang Star can still join other players temporarily. Within the camp of the world. The man frowned. What do you want to do? This is of no benefit to us at all. If too many local players die, it will also affect the development of Yin Yang Star. Pharaoh lowered his voice. Don't you want to kill the culprit of this matter, that damn blue star player? You mean? There was a trace of hatred on Pharaoh's face. It's because of that person that Yin Yang Star has withdrawn from participating in the public beta. Don't you hate it? We have been waiting for the day of the public beta. How long have we waited and how much have we paid? You have forgotten. Of course I haven't forgotten, but... Pharaoh continued to encourage, it's just a player. It's hard to die during the closed beta. If she's so busy, she'll have to suffer a lot when the open beta comes. The man struggled for a while, but finally the anger and unwillingness in his heart got the upper hand. He gritted his teeth and said, this matter is only planned by you and me. We cannot implicate other people. If it is exposed, it will not bring down the entire Yin Yang Star. Get in the water. Of course I know this, don't worry. Settlement space. Chu Xinyu was bored on the player forum while waiting for the wound to get better. Originally, speeches on the forum were quite normal. But when the panel system went crazy and sent thousands of notices, the player forum exploded with everyone discussing the matter. Oh my gosh, what a wonder, is the game going to crash? No need for open beta. Good guy, in the past, one copy after another collapsed, but now they are all together. Grass, I had 2 tokens of the same type that were finally triggered just now before I could enter the dungeon. They were directly recycled and destroyed by the panel system, not even a replacement. What's the result? Among those thousands of Honkai copies, there are copies of my token. Tisk, it's too miserable upstairs, a professional title is just gone, ha ha ha. What's so cool about this panel? Among the collapsed dungeons inside, there is one that I entered before, but it's gone. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 932. Chu Xinyu frowned. Wait. Why is there a yin-yang city in it? Suddenly, Chu Xinyu had a vague premonition in her heart. Yin-yang city, isn't it yin-yang star? The panel notification shows the collapse. Is there something wrong with yin-yang star? Just when Chu Xinyu was thinking wildly, a strange friend message popped up. When Chu Xinyu looked at it, his expression suddenly calmed down. Do you want medicine that can completely heal the wound? This piece of news is like a hunter casting a net and throwing out bait to attract prey. Chu Xinyu hissed lightly. Although the injuries on his body had improved, it would be difficult to fully recover for a while. Chu Xinyu did not dare to return to the real world before she fully recovered. Chu Xinyu typed the content in the input box. What do you want? Also, where is the person who originally contacted me? Although they were all blank nicknames, Chu Xinyu could feel that they were not the same person. To be on the safe side, you still need to ask clearly. Yin Yang Star will withdraw from this public beta. The person on the other end did not answer Chu Xinyu's question, but instead dropped a bomb that was tantamount to bombshell news for her. Chu Xinyu took a deep breath. What do you mean? Is the public beta closed? Is Parallel Paradise going to be closed too? One of the requirements of Chu Xinyu's deal with these Yin-Yang Star administrators is to find an opportunity to completely return to the original Yin-Yang continent, and to obtain a position of extremely high authority on the continent. In the past, Chu Xinyu had no choice but to develop in Blue Star. But given the choice, Chu Xinyu naturally wanted to go back. If not for anything else, just because the humans on the Yin-Yang Star live longer than the humans on the Blue Star, and they also have all kinds of real treasures that can extend their lifespan. But now that Yin-Yang Xing is no longer participating in the public beta, her spy seems to be useless. Was she abandoned? No. Chu Xinyu clenched her fists fiercely. If she was really abandoned, the other party wouldn't have to bother contacting her at all. They could just lose contact. The public beta will naturally start, and the game of Parallel Paradise has just begun. Although Yin-Yang Star has withdrawn from this game in advance, the local players of Yin-Yang Star have not said they want to withdraw, and can also join the camp of other worlds. Chu Xinyu asked directly, then what do you want me to do? Enough, you need to be your spy. I have contacted another world. When the time comes, you will obey the orders of that world. Similarly, after everything is done, I can give you whatever you want. How about it? Give you 5 minutes to think about it. Chu Xinyu was slightly startled. Take refuge in another world? Chu Xinyu thought for a while and then replied, okay. Very good. This is medicine for you, heal the wound quickly. In addition, I also need you to kill one person, that is, the Blue Star player who goes to Yin-Yang Star and comes into contact with the gods. If you have a chance, kill that person. The rest, I will inform you when the time is right. Chu Xinyu stared straight at the content of the third line. Blue Star player, Angel Su. As soon as these 3 words were mentioned, Chu Xinyu couldn't suppress her anger. It seemed that Angel Su really pissed off those mysterious people. If the player has enough game currency, he will not die in the dungeon. Did the person opposite mean to kill her in reality? Chu Xinyu replied, no problem. Tisk, 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 it's so intense. Su Tingyu ate on the forum for a while, then exited the settlement space. After coming out, Su Tingyu appeared in the courtyard of AB/U0026B. The sun was shining brightly in the sky at noon, and it felt like it was about to bake the ground. Su Tingyu found the mobile phone on her body and checked the current date. Chinese time, 13:45/8.22. Hey, more than half a month is gone, but it's okay, it's just that less than a month has passed. Su Tingyu breathed a sigh of relief. As long as the proportion of time is not that of a few months or a few years at a time, it is still within the acceptable range. By the way, before entering the dungeon, I was doing a mission with Xiao Yu. Where is he now? Thinking like this, Su Tingyu immediately called Xiepwu. In less than 5 seconds, the call was connected. Dead fish. Su Tingyu quickly moved the phone away, successfully preventing his ears from being persecuted. You figured it out? I almost thought you were stuck in the copy. Listening to Xiepwu's exaggerated description, Su Tingyu rolled his eyes angrily. You're the one who died. Where are you now? Still at the original B/U0026B. Yeah, how's our mission going? What else can I do? You are already in the dungeon. I don't know when you will be able to come out. I have to continue to do the missions. Hearing this, Su Tingyu touched his nose sheepishly. Then I will return to the team now. You'd better come back to the mysterious bureau first. Xiepwu hesitated to speak because she was worried about saying it was not safe on the phone. Sutingyu understood. Okay, I'll leave now. After hanging up the call, Sutingyu immediately took a taxi. When the taxi came, the driver opened the door. When Sutingyu was about to get in, the former suddenly said, "Why aren't you wearing a mask?" You. Huh? Sutingyu was a little confused. Only then did she notice that the driver was wearing a mask. When the driver saw that Sutingyu was really not wearing a mask, he took a new mask from the car and handed it to Sutingyu. Sutingyu blinked his big eyes. Yes. It's August now, and the public beta is likely to start on September 1st. Officials should also take action. Uncle, I'm scared now, so I want to go home. Sutingyu made up a random sentence. So that's it? Are you going to take a plane? Planes have been banned for a long time, but the high-speed rail is still available. Why don't you take the high-speed rail home instead? The driver kindly reminded. Okay, I almost forgot that planes are grounded. During the conversation, Sutingyu got into a taxi. The driver said, "Well, how about you add 50 more and change the order to the high-speed rail station? You can get there in about 2 hours. Okay." Sutingyu immediately used her mobile phone to book a high-speed rail ticket that would depart in 3 hours. 2 hours later, Sutingyu arrived at the high-speed rail station smoothly. After checking in, she waited in the waiting hall for almost an hour before taking the high-speed train to Kyoto. 5 hours later, Kyoto, high-speed rail station. As soon as Sutingyu left the station, a special car came to take her to the mystery bureau. Inside the mysterious bureau, dead fish. Siepweo looked at Sutingyu, who appeared with his head and tail, and breathed a sigh of relief. Sutingyu disappeared under his nose before. Although he guessed that he had entered the dungeon, he still couldn't rest assured without seeing Sutingyu's safety with his own eyes. Siepweo was rarely concerned about Sutingyu's physical condition. "How do you feel now?" Sutingyu was confused. "What is it like?" "It's just a career dungeon. This is a career dungeon that appeared after the closed beta." "Is there anything special about it?" Siepweo was very curious. Sutingyu blinked her big innocent eyes. Special? Does it count if you accidentally destroy a real world? Does it count if you accidentally bring a god from another world?" "It's no different," Sutingyu said without changing his expression. "Right. No problem at all. Then did you get any new professions in the career dungeon? Although you already have a profession, it is very difficult to get a new one." Siepweo analyzed it to herself. Cough cough cough. Sutingyu felt a little guilty, but also a little proud. This fairy is not just a dual professional, but the 3 awesome professions. "No, I already have a job. I'm just a running companion." Sutingyu didn't intend to reveal his new job. Doesn't Xiaowei love reasoning? But now, he would never guess that this fairy has 3 professions. "By the way, what did you want to say on the phone?" Sutingyu changed the subject. Hearing this, Siepweo's expression straightened and she lowered her voice. "Dead fish, there is accurate news from above. There is an 80% chance that the public beta will start this year, that is, next week." "Is this news accurate?" Sutingyu asked. "It came from above. Now, the middle and high-level people have heard about it." When Sutingyu heard this, his heart sank slightly. Since the superiors dare to spread the news, they must be very confident. "Sutingyu, when I came to Kyoto, I took the high-speed rail. Are all planes really prohibited from flying?" Yes, Siepweo nodded. "It was implemented as early as August 1st except for special flights. All other ordinary flights have been cancelled. You can remind your friends to prepare more supplies. It will take at least half a year to prepare. Now the people above have issued notices, asking everyone to stay at home and not run around, and to prepare more supplies. In addition to some necessary jobs, many factories have also been suspended. Then, for everything, Just follow the arrangements. Although Siepuyo tried to pretend to be relaxed in her tone, Sotingyo could still hear a sense of crisis and urgency about the coming storm. After being away for just over half a month, I feel like the real world has changed a lot. You should go back and stay for the next few days, and then you can be on call at any time. Sotingyo blinked. Huh? Then, what about the previous mission? Siepuyo explained, in the half-month you were away, we almost completed all the tasks. It's just that Sotingyo entered the dungeon, people like Siepuyo still have to work. Wow! Is there such a good thing? Sotingyo rubbed his excited little hands. So, she can go back to find Kikai now? Siepuyo rolled her eyes, look at how good you are. There's really nothing wrong with you now, you can get out. Hey. Get out of here. Sotingyo couldn't help but be happy when she thought that she could finally go back to Kikai, Fatty and the others, and graciously forgave Xiaoyu for her rude remarks. After Sotingyo left, a staff member came to look for Jipuyu. Captain Lin asked you to come over and meet the guests. Siepuyo nodded slightly, okay, I'll be there right away. Siepuyo was currently staying at the Mystery Bureau, not specifically waiting for Sotingyo, but was called here by her boss. Say what it is, there is a very mysterious figure coming up above. Siepuyo wanted to find out in advance, but her boss was always very tight-lipped, so she could only find out when they met in person. The other side. After leaving the mysterious bureau, Sotingyo asked the driver to take him to the Huisha Manor. It's been almost a month, and I don't know how Qin-Chi and the others are doing. Sotingyo really misses them a little. By the way, the fallen angel's feather, I remember giving this token to Qin-Chi and Fatty. But what about the two of them? I've made such a big fuss in the Yin and Yang continent. It's impossible that I'm not aware of my existence. They haven't even come to see me. Could it be that they're not in the copy? This is weird. Anyway. After you go back, ask Qin-Chi and Fatty and they will know everything. Sotingyo sat comfortably in the car and was about to continue surfing the internet to understand the current situation of Blue Star. Unexpectedly, his panel suddenly popped out, and then a ball of golden light floated out. Sotingyo quickly stretched out her hand, and the golden light fell on her palm. Sotingyo quietly glanced at the driver in front of him, then moved his body to block the little god in his hand. Because someone was there, Sotingyo couldn't communicate. Fortunately, he had a contract and could communicate with his thoughts. Why did you come out? Sotingyo poked Lucifer's little head with his finger. Disobedient. Lucifer blinked his golden eyes, bored. Ah, this. Sotingyo suddenly thought that Lucifer had been imprisoned for hundreds of thousands of years, and now he finally broke the seal. Indeed, he didn't like being detained. But some rules still need to be made clear. You can't come out casually, you know, I'm following people around me. If you are discovered by them, be careful and be taken out for experiments. Sotingyo's expression also became fierce. Lucifer became so small that Sotingyo subconsciously treated him as a child. When dealing with naughty children who are disobedient, they cannot just indulge them, but also need to scare them. Nothing wrong. You humans here also want to imprison gods. Lucifer tilted his head. Cough cough cough. You're such a little kid, you're so cool, right? Sotingyo complained in his heart, but on the surface, he still had to reassure him, of course not, we Blue Star humans are different from the Yin-Yang Star humans. We are the most friendly and welcoming. Moreover, you are my bonded spirit now, that is, one of my own. How could one of my own be able to do something to my own? I am a god, not a human being. Sotingyo dahaha, that's what it means anyway, don't think too much. Oh. Lucifer left Sotingyo's hand and jumped to the car window, looking at the scenery outside through the car window. This place is indeed a little different from the Yin and Yang continent. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 933. Ahem, cough, cough, it's a little late, it's not a big problem. In the last small event, the award-winning Bayazai designated a spin-off protagonist. It should be easy to guess whose story this is. Text. In a private hospital. A chubby little kid was chewing an apple while looking at the woman lying on the hospital bed with his eyes rolling. "Mom, do you want to eat it?" After the little fat boy finished eating an apple, he took out a new apple from the fruit basket, stretched it out to the unconscious woman, and asked in a clear voice. After waiting for several seconds, there was still no response from the woman, so the little fat boy had no choice but to retract his hand and nibble on the apple himself. Before the little fat boy finished chewing his apple, a man came in outside the door. The little fat boy turned his head, and when he saw the person coming, he blinked and asked, "Dad, did the doctor uncle tell me when mommy will wake up? Mommy has been sleeping for a month, why doesn't she get up yet?" The man's face was full of fatigue and decadence, but facing his young and ignorant son, he squatted down and forced a smile on his face. "Mom is just too tired. Once you have rested, you can get up." "Yeah," the little fat boy nodded, convinced of his father's words. "My birthday is coming soon. Mom will get up before my birthday, right?" "Yes, it will definitely happen." "Dad, do you want to eat an apple?" "Apples are very sweet." The little fat boy raised the half-bitten apple in his hand. The man reached out and stroked the little fat boy's head. "Dad, you don't need to eat. Ziobe, please eat." The little fat boy patted his belly and felt a little bloated. "Then leave the rest for Mom to eat after she wakes up." "Okay, Dad." "Okay." The man's voice was filled with sobs. A week later. After all, the little fat boy didn't wait until his mother woke up to eat the apple. "My mother went to a very, very far away place and may not come back." After the little fat boy attended a funeral in a daze, he was held in his arms by his father and heard these words from his father. The little fat boy suddenly felt a huge emptiness in his heart, and felt an indescribable discomfort. It can be seen that after Dad came home, he kept crying while holding him, and the louder he cried. The little fat boy stretched out his hands, hugged his father's head, and comforted him in turn. "Dad, I'm still with you." "Yes, Ziobe is still here, and Ziobe's father is also here." The figures, one large and one small, hugged each other tightly. After a while. "Dad, I miss Mom." "Dad misses Mom too. I want to dream about Mom tonight." "I'll dream about it." The mother of the little fat boy passed away. Within half a year, as a wealthy man, there would always be various voices around him urging him to remarry. Saying that for the sake of the child needs a mother to take care of him. Regarding this issue, the man discussed this issue with the little fat boy one night. "Xiaobei, do you hope that your father will marry another and come home to take care of you like your mother?" Hearing this, the little fat boy shook his head. "Dad, I don't want to, I don't want anyone to be my mother." "Okay, then just listen to Ziobe." The man touched the little fat boy's head and said with a smile. The next day, the whole family lived their lives as usual, regardless of the gossip outside. A long, long time later, until the man died, he did not marry another woman. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 934. Goose Manor. When they arrived, Sutingu asked Lucifer to go back to the panel, got out of the car and entered the manor. Main Villa. Hall. "I'm back." Sutingu originally thought that everyone would be there, so she deliberately didn't call in advance, just thinking it would be a surprise. But in the end, except for the servants, Qin and the others disappeared. "Ah! Where is the person Sutingyu went to places and rooms where several people often go, but couldn't find anyone. At a corner, Chibubi's figure appeared, accompanied by his unhurried voice. "Miss Su, you are back." Chibubi, Sutingyu finally saw someone, so he walked over quickly and asked, "Where are Kikai and the others?" Seventh young master seems to be contacting him from the original army. Xiaozu has gone back to his hometown, Mr. Feng has gone to collect rent, and Miss Shan has gone back to visit her friends. Chibubi knew everyone's itinerary well. Sutingyu puffed up her face slightly. "Well, everyone has something to do. Now that the closed beta is over, we don't need to enter the dungeon for the time being, so everyone can take a vacation," Chibubi said. "What about Guju? Where has he gone?" Chibubi talked about everyone, but Gucci was the only one missing. Chibubi's expression was slightly restrained. "Master, he went out to do some work, for the public test." Open beta. Sutingyu thought of Siepui's previous words, hesitated in her heart, and said, "I accidentally got a message that the public beta will start, probably in September this year, so Scene Side needs to be prepared. The commotion above is so big that various matters have even been arranged in the real world, just to prevent something. The original closed beta, even if it had an impact, would only spread in the dungeon, but now all the above actions made Sutingyu suspicious. Could it be that the opening of the open beta would directly affect the real world? "Don't worry, Miss Su, we will be ready. You just came back. If you need anything, just call the servant at home." Good. Sutingyu looked at Chibubi's retreating back, and the expression on his face slowly became playful. Something is wrong. Just now she mentioned that the open beta would probably be in September, and Chibubi didn't seem surprised at all. Thinking that Chibubi is from the Gu family, perhaps, it has been hinted at above that there is a wealthy and powerful family like the Gu family. Sutingyu went to the kitchen to order some food, especially various drinks, and ordered the servants to deliver them directly to her room. Back in the room, Sutingyu closed the doors and windows, drew the curtains, and then let Lucifer out. Lucifer came out and flapped his little wings, looked around Sutingyu's room, and then landed on the table. Since Sutingyu couldn't see Qin and the others now, he could only send a message through the panel and ask about their situation. 1 minute later, Fatty was the first to reply, "Boss, I still have a dozen places left to go. It will take 3 days at most. I will be back after the rent is collected." Sutingyu looked at the fat man's simple and unpretentious language, but showed the most arrogant attitude, and almost shed tears of envy. 5 minutes. Gucci, oh. 10 minutes. Shan Yu, just come back. Wei Chu, Sister Su, I'll bring you some local specialties in a few days. Sutingyu waited for another 10 minutes, but there was still no reply from Qin. "Are Kikai busy now?" At this time, there was a knock on the door, and Sutingyu had no choice but to turn off the panel, grab Lucifer, stuff it under the quilt on the bed, and then go to open the door. As soon as he opened the door, Sutingyu smelled a scent. 3 servants came to deliver the meal. "Come in." Sutingyu turned sideways, let the servants come in, and placed the food and drinks on the table. After the servants left, Sutingyu closed the door again. Hearing the noise, Lucifer poked his head out from under the quilt. He glanced at Sutingyu and was immediately attracted by the various drinks on the table. Then he flapped his little wings and flew over. Sutingyu turned around, saw this scene, and smiled. "I ordered them all for you, go ahead and eat." Lucifer sniffed the freshly cooked meals and was not very interested. Then he fell in love with a glass of drink and flew to the lid of the cup, just enough to be able to stand firmly on it. Lucifer opened his small mouth slightly, faced the straw that had been inserted, and took it in his mouth. Sutingyu came over and sat down. After traveling for so long, Sutingyu was hungry. In a small rural village surrounded by mountains and rivers, due to transportation difficulties, The people in the village live a self-sufficient life. Most of the villagers have traveled to the farthest place, which is the nearest small county town. But one day, the quiet village became lively. Grandpa, I'm back. Second aunt, I brought back specialties from the big city. Come and try them. Cousin, you are beautiful again. Wei Chu entered the village entrance carrying a large bag of storage bags in each hand. When he saw an acquaintance, he greeted him with a simple smile. Everyone in the village was overjoyed when they saw Wei Chu coming back. They gathered around and asked about his welfare. Piggy is back. Hey. The little pig seems to have gained a lot of weight. It seems that the food in big cities is pretty good. Little pig, why are you back when you have time? Don't you have to work? Facing the questions from the villagers, Wei Chu stopped and answered them patiently. Okay. Piggy just came back. Let him go back and rest. Tomorrow you can come and visit at will. A gray-haired old man squeezed through the crowd and grabbed Wei Chu's arm. That's okay. Xiaozu will go back and rest first. Auntie will come to see you tomorrow. Yeah. Wei Chu supported the old man and returned to his original home. There is no one at home now, everyone who can work has gone out, leaving only the old man at home. Grandpa, please sit down. Wei Chu opened his two large bags, which contained various food items. Grandpa, I bought this for you with my salary in the city, and this. Okay. Piggy, how many days do you plan to stay when you come back this time? Grandpa looked at these strange things and felt very pleased. I'm on vacation now. I can stay in the village for more than half a month without any problem. Okay. After being back for more than 10 days, Wei Chu helped take care of all aspects of the house as before. Wei Chu was feeding the chickens when he received a panel message from Su Tingyu. After replying, he closed the panel. After feeding the chickens at home, he went to do other housework. After he was free, Wei Chu went to talk to his grandfather. Grandpa, the hens at home are not energetic. Hey. Grandpa took a drag of his old cigarette and said disapprovingly, I don't know what's wrong with the recent weather. It's cold and hot now. Even humans can't stand it, let alone poultry. Grandpa, you have to take care of yourself. Wei Chu looked a little nervous. Haha, I know. Grandpa stretched out his hand and patted the bench next to him. Come on, pig boy, tell me again, where did you talk about the big city last time? Wei Chu sat on the bench. Last time we talked about a certain special forces area. Main entrance. Qin Shi took out a retirement certificate and showed it to the soldiers guarding the gate. Are you Qin Shi? Yes. After checking the retirement certificate, the soldier returned it to Qin Shi and saluted the latter. Please come in. Qin Shi collected his retirement certificate and stepped into the door that he had not seen for more than a year. Before Qin Shi had gone far, a small group of soldiers ran over with a very clear goal. When they saw the former, their faces showed joy. Qin Shi. You kid. You finally thought of contacting us. You brat, you ran away without saying a word and didn't even leave us any contact information. Qin Shi silently endured the complaints from his former colleagues, and finally said, I'm sorry, before harm. What are you apologizing for? One person raised his fist, reduced his strength, and hit Qin Shi on the shoulder. We are all brothers. We are all very happy that you can come back. Qin Shi, the boss is waiting for you in the office. Qin Shi nodded slightly, then I'll go there now. Okay. Go quickly. Don't run away again after you finish discussing things with the boss. That is. Qin Shi came to an office alone. The door was open, and inside there was a middle-aged man in uniform, looking down at the documents at hand. Come in, the middle-aged man said without raising his head. After hearing this, Qin Shi stepped in, stood not far from the desk, and gave a military salute with a solemn expression. The middle-aged man put down the document in his hand, raised his head, and placed the fingers of his hands on the table, showing a bit of dignity and coldness. Came back. Qin-Chi looked stunned and responded in a low voice, yes. The middle-aged man examined Qin-Chi for a few seconds, then reached out and took out a pistol from the drawer next to him, and threw it to Qin-Chi. Qin-Chi took it quickly and held the pistol in his hand, as if it was a natural fit. The middle-aged man stared at Qin-Chi closely. Seeing that the latter didn't look strange at all, his face suddenly relaxed. Okay. Well. Qin-Chi took 2 steps forward and returned the pistol to the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man glanced at the gun on the table and sighed slightly. I don't blame you for what happened back then. Now that you have come out of the shadows, are you willing to join the army again? These are troubled times, and there are rumors from above that something big is likely to happen in the near future. When the time comes, we will need to be a shield for the people. The middle-aged man trusted Qin-Chi very much and revealed important information before the latter clearly revealed that he wanted to return to the team. Qin-Chi thought about this information and could probably deduce that it was related to the public beta of Parallel Paradise. The country's sense of smell has always been more sensitive than that of any single person, and it considers all aspects and is the most comprehensive. Qin-Chi looked at the middle-aged man calmly. You have taught me before that if there is a war, I will be summoned back. The student should keep this in mind. Ha 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 ha. At this time, the middle-aged man couldn't hold himself any longer. He stood up, crossed the desk, approached Qin-Chi, stretched out one hand, and patted Qin-Chi on the shoulder happily. Okay. As expected of me, I brought him here, people. I'm very happy that you can come back, and those monkeys are equally happy. Qin-Chi pursed his lower lip slightly. It was undeniable that Qin-Chi felt a trace of joy in his heart. But he couldn't express it. What do I need to do? Qin-Chi asked. You first do a few rounds of rehabilitation training tests, and after you pass the test, you can officially return to the team. The middle-aged man did not ask Qin-Chi where he had been for more than a year. When he accepted Qin-Chi, he knew that Qin-Chi's name was a pseudonym, and only he knew his true identity. Because of his love for talents, he and several old friends protected Qin-Chi from joining the army. Later, Qin-Chi left the army. The middle-aged man also respected Qin-Chi's choice and did not check the latter's living situation casually. Okay, Qin-Chi had no objection. After an hour, Qin-Chi left the office. After coming out, Qin-Chi found a deserted corner and opened the panel. When he saw the new message on the panel, he clicked in and took a look. Suddenly, his cold eyebrows softened. He thought for a while, entered a line of content, and then sent it. After doing this, Qin-Chi turned off the panel and rushed towards the training ground. Goose Manor. In the room, Sotingyu touched his round belly and burped with satisfaction. Sotingyu only drank 1 cup of the drinks on the table, and Lucifer drank all the others. Sotingyu reached out and poked Lucifer's little head. Do you really only drink drinks and don't eat other delicacies? Lucifer held the last glass of orange juice and shook his head. No, human food can't replenish any energy for me, it's just a taste. Have a taste. Sotingyu's eyes drifted towards the several empty drink glasses on the table with confusion. Are you sure this is just a taste? Are you not a picky eater? However, Lucifer was right, and Sotingyu didn't force him to eat any food. After eating, Sotingyu asked the servant to come up and clean it up, and ordered some drinks for Lucifer. After nothing happened, Sotingyu subconsciously opened the panel and saw a red dot. There is new news. Sotingyu clicked in to take a look. It's Kikai. If something happens, wait for me to come back. He. Sotingyu looked at these few words and giggled, making Lucifer beside him curious. What is this human being laughing at? At this time, a voice floated in Lucifer's mind. What else can you laugh about, human girls? Apart from caring about eating, drinking, and dressing up, they are all about falling in love. Fall in love? What is that? Mating. Lucifer was even more confused and subconsciously bit the straw in his mouth. Ahem, be good, you will understand when you grow up. The voice in Lucifer's mind seemed to be coaxing a child. Upon hearing this tone, Lucifer was very dissatisfied. I want to know now. This human must know, why don't you ask? As if hearing Lucifer's heartfelt voice, the voice in his mind was very helpless. You are still young, really, not suitable for falling in love. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 935. Sutingu lay on the bed and selected a toy bed on a certain software. Lucifer refused to stay in the inventory when no one was around. He was now too curious about the outside world. To be more precise, he was curious about all kinds of drinks. Sutingu couldn't understand that a god liked to drink all kinds of human drinks. There was no other way, Sutingu had no choice but to rely on him, mainly because Lucifer was so small now. Even if there was no expression on his face, it made people feel that he was acting coquettishly and cutely. Who could withstand this? Since he didn't stay in the inventory, Sutingu could only cede part of his room's territory to Lucifer. Lucifer was now so small that he couldn't take up much space. Sutingu emptied the upper floor of a wardrobe to make room for Lucifer to live in it. With a small room, you have to choose a small bed. Lucifer's body was only the size of a hand. Sutingu thought that a toy bed would be just right, so he searched online for a suitable toy bed. When he saw someone suitable, Sutingu handed the phone out to Lucifer and looked at it. How about this? It looks good. Lucifer stretched out his little hand and swiped through the phone interface. When he saw another small bed with a simple style, he pointed at the interface and said, I want this. Sutingu took one look and felt pity, but this was Lucifer's choice, so he could only agree. Okay with that, he placed the order. Sutingu specially added money and placed the fastest order, ensuring that the goods would arrive tonight. After waiting for several hours, Sutingu's express delivery arrived and the servant brought it up. Sutingu happily unpacked the courier and then installed the cot. After the installation was completed, Lucifer went to try sleeping. Very good, no problem. For several days, Sutingu didn't wait for Chin-Chi and the others to come back, and she had nothing to do, so she huddled in her room, watching TV shows and videos, and shopping for various supplies online. Lucifer had a drink and didn't think about how to go out. From time to time, he would accompany Sutingu and chase dramas. However, after Lucifer joined the ranks of watching TV series, he instantly became a curious baby who likes to ask questions. For example, Lucifer, why is this human woman crying? Sutingu, because her whole family died. Lucifer, why would she kill this human man? Sutingu, because she found out that this person was the murderer of her whole family. Lucifer, why hasn't she killed that man after dozens of episodes? She obviously had many opportunities. Sutingu, because of love. Lucifer. One day, at 6 o'clock in the morning, Sutingu went down to the living room on the first floor. Sutingu wanted to get some drinks and snacks back to the room, but at this time, the servants were not at work yet, so she had to come down and get them by herself. As soon as he arrived at the living room, the door was opened and a round figure came in. Boss. Sutingu paused slightly while rummaging through the refrigerator. Is she hallucinating? Sutingu turned around and saw Fatty, with a happy face. Fat man, you're back. The fat man quickly took out the teapot on the tea table, picked up an empty teacup, poured a full cup of tea, then drank it in one gulp, and finally sighed, yes, it can be considered as renting this year's tea to it's all done, I'm exhausted. Sutingu, Why did Sutinyu feel more and more like Versailles the more he listened to it? Fat man, if you're tired, why don't you just ask the tenant to pay you the rent? Sutinyu didn't understand the practice of collecting rent in person, especially since she was bored recently and came across some funny jokes about rent collection while watching short videos. But the joke turned into reality. This is how the fat man came to collect rent. Could it be that he was just showing off his wealth? It's bad, I don't want to have so much trouble running around. The main reason is that there are some older tenants who don't know how to use mobile phones to pay, so they all use cash. There are also some reasons. Oh. Sutinyu no longer dwelled on this useless question for her, and changed the subject. Fat man, after the closed beta ended, one of my tokens was triggered, and I entered a professional dungeon, which is the Feather of the Fallen Angel. I remember I divided it between you and Kikai. Have you entered the dungeon? Huh? This. The fat man scratched his head and looked a little embarrassed. Boss, I lost the token you gave me in a dungeon. In that dungeon, the player had 3 lives. I died twice and almost failed to pass the level. I died the first 2 times. The token was also lost, maybe it was picked up by an unknown player. That's right. No wonder, I've been in the token copy for so many days and I haven't seen you come to me. Sutinyu suddenly realized. Case solved. Sutinyu consoled him, if you lose the token, you'll lose it. There will still be some in the future. The fat man waved his hands quickly, without feeling any pity on his face. Ahem, the difficulty of that round of dungeons was a bit high. Most of the players failed many times and lost a lot of game items. I was lucky and picked up 2 tokens. After one of the tokens was triggered, I already had a career, and it would be more difficult to get another career, so I bought another token and replaced it with a blue mysterious grade defense prop. After Sutinyu heard this, he blinked his big eyes. Good guy. Lose 1 and pick up 2. Sutinyu wanted to take back the words she just comforted the fat man. Boss, I lost the token you gave me. You won't blame me, right? The fat man said with some anxiety on his face. Harm. What's the big deal? Sutinyu smiled nonchalantly, I gave it all to you, so of course it's yours. Hey, boss, just don't blame me. The fat man scratched his head and smiled innocently. It's great to have you back. I'm bored to death when you guys aren't here. Sutinyu selectively forgot how much fun she and Lucifer had been watching the past few days. Fatty, Brother Chin and the others haven't come back yet. Yes, Fatty, the public beta will probably be in September this year, which is only a few days away. Do you have any close friends or relatives? Remember to remind them to prepare more supplies. The fat man's face was shocked. Ah. The public beta is really next month. It had only been 2 months of stability, and it was about to be gone. Fatty felt a little disappointed, and more importantly, he was uneasy about the unknown public beta. The fat man thought for a while and said, I don't have many close relationships. I have some colleagues from the jobs I worked in before, but the relationship isn't very deep. Forget it, anyway, the official has issued a statement. Those people have a sense of precaution and will be prepared, Sutinyu said. Now that the fat man is back, Sutinyu has no reason to hide in the room to eat lunch. The 2 of them sat around the dining table on the 1st floor, preparing to have lunch. Sutinyu watched short videos out of habit. According to expert research, there is currently a clear downward trend in the global climate. The melting glaciers at the 2 poles have begun to stop melting, and the sea surface is further freezing. The Bipolar Biological Enthusiasts Organization said this is a good thing for some creatures living at the poles. The Global Meteorological Administration stated that humans cannot relax their vigilance. Climate decline does not mean that the global climate warming problem has improved in recent years. On the contrary, it is likely to lead to another situation that is very bad for human society. So heard a sound coming from you. Why, so Fatty also heard it? Boss, it's true that the weather has been changing lately. Sometimes, it doesn't even look like the weather in August at all. Changing all the time. Sutinyu frowned slightly. Has it been like this month? Sutinyu had been in the dungeon for a long time, and it had only been a few days since he came out. He was still staying in the room all day, and he didn't have a deep experience of the changes in the weather outside. Yes, it's been like this for the past month, the fat man nodded. Also, didn't the official say that there is a new type of virus recently? It feels a bit scary. I'm scared to collect rent these days. Ah, this. Ahem, when I came back, I also heard that there was some kind of virus, but as long as we don't go out, we'll be fine. Regarding the inside story of the new virus, Sutinyu couldn't reveal it to Fatty now, so he could only pretend not to know. Yeah. After the servants brought the food to the table, Sutinyu put down her phone and started eating with the fat man. After eating, Sutinyu returned to the room with a lot of drinks. Lucifer was sitting on the table, watching the TV series being played on the computer screen. Seeing Sutinyu come back with a drink, he waved to her, "Come here quickly." Sutinyu walked over and placed the drinks neatly on the table. Lucifer immediately picked a drink and drank it. Sutinyu also found a seat and sat down, watching the show with Lucifer. Lucifer finished a drink. Uncommonly, he did not drink another drink. Instead, he clicked the pause button, turned to Sutinyu and said, "Your world seems to have changed a bit recently." Huh? Sutinyu blinked. What change? Inexplicably, Sutinyu thought of the news she had inadvertently seen when she was watching short videos. Well, even if there are changes, I can't tell you the details. Lucifer's little face was slightly confused. Sutinyu, who originally didn't pay much attention to weather changes, gradually became serious. Are you sure? You don't feel wrong? Lucifer moved his small body and hugged the nearest drink. No. After saying that, without Sutinyu's knowledge, Lucifer silently asked the voice in his head. Are you really not talking nonsense? Of course not. This world will soon undergo earth-shaking changes. Please prepare this little girl. Are you sure? Naturally, this is God's induction. You are still underage and your induction in this area is not very deep yet. After asking the question, Lucifer drank his drink with peace of mind and continued to watch the TV series. He was not wrong. If there is a mistake, it is the fault of the guy in your head. Sutinyu couldn't sit still at this time, so she called Siepwiu directly. After waiting for a minute, the other person answered the phone. Xiaoyu, the weather has been abnormal recently. Just when Sutinyu was about to ask, Siepwiu on the other side said oh and then said, you said this, I was just about to tell you, do you want to come back? What? Sutinyu was a little confused. It's like this. Regarding the public beta test in 5 days, there are already some vague predictions. Now, the new policy should be released soon. We are just waiting for the public to respond. Siepwiu's words were confused, but Sutinyu grasped an important point. Open beta. Is the abnormal weather related to the public beta? How can this be? Sutinyu's thoughts flashed across his mind, and he suddenly thought of past token copies and the players. The power behind Parallel Paradise is so big that it can pull every human being into the game, and it can turn every world into a copy. After the public beta, it will directly affect the real world. It seems that it can be explained. Is there any new discovery above? Did you also learn that the public beta will directly affect the real world? Sutinyu quickly asked. Siepwiu replied, these are all confidential. If you are in the mysterious bureau now, I can tell you. In other words, the current phone won't work. The more cautious Siepwiu is, the more it shows that things are not simple. Anyway, dead fish, you get ready. Let's do this. You leave for the Magic City. In 3 days, we will return to the Magic City. Sutingyu was silent for a moment and replied, that's good. Beep. Call ended. Boss. At this time, the fat man suddenly knocked on the door. Sutingyu turned her head and glanced at Lucifer, who understood instantly, flapped his little wings, and flew back to his nest to hide. Sutingyu went to open the door. Boss. The boss is back, Fatty said excitedly. Huh? Are you back? Sutingyu walked out of the room. Yeah, oh, by the way, the boss also asked us to go to the study room. Sutingyu turned around and closed the door. Then let's go. When Sutingyu arrived at the door of the study, he caught sight of Gucci inside. Sutingyu asked, why are you looking for us? Gucci turned his head and looked, get ready and leave Kyoto tomorrow. Ah. Leave. Where to go? Sutingyu didn't expect that she heard similar words twice in a short period of time. Going south, I'll go to Magic City first for now. Isn't your original company also in Magic City? It's not a stranger. Sutingyu, etc. South. Abnormal weather. Open beta. Combining these key points, Sutingyu could vaguely figure out some of the reasons, but he was not completely sure. Guju, what have you been doing these days? Gucci, I'm going to deal with the life issues of SEAM's members and their families after the public beta. The public beta is likely to be global. No one knows what the world will be like by then. Don't forget the token copy. Well, I understand. Then I'll pack my luggage tonight, but Kikai and Shan Yu haven't come back yet. Of the two of them, one has returned to the army and has arrangements from above. Don't worry, the other is already in the Magic City. The fat man listened and vaguely felt something. When the two of them were almost done talking, he said, Boss, how can I help you? You are the heir to a former real estate tycoon. You should own properties all over the country. In this short time, I need to borrow your house. Gucci pondered for a moment and spoke. No problem, Fatty agreed. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 936. As soon as Sutingyu and Fatty walked out of the study door, they saw Chibubi coming with some food. Chibubi smiled slightly, Miss Su, Mr. Feng. Sutingyu glanced at the food and understood, let's go now. See you tomorrow. Entering the study, Chibubi placed all the food on the table. You just came back, please take a rest first. Gucci glanced at the food and put down the pen in his hand, but did not take the chopsticks that Bubi handed over. Gucci suddenly said, are you hiding something from me? Chibubi paused slightly, why do you ask that? Gucci lowered his eyes slightly and said two words, feeling. Also, apart from what is provided above, why do you know so clearly about the specific situation of this open beta? You. Chibubi opened his mouth slightly, wanting to say something, but hesitated for a few seconds and did not say anything. Gucci asked again, don't want to say. Chibubi put down his chopsticks and took 2 steps back to avoid talking. You should eat something first. Gucci said coldly, forget it, get out of here. Chibubi was confused for a moment, and finally he could only say helplessly, when the time is right, I will explain it clearly to you. Roll. Yes. After Sutingyu separated from Fatty, he returned to the room. Seeing Lucifer obediently following the drama, Sutingyu walked over and gently poked the former's little head. Lucifer hooked Sutingyu's little finger with his backhand, his golden eyes still staring at the computer screen, and asked, why do these two humans want to be together, but other humans don't agree? Sutingyu turned her head and looked at the title of the TV series being played. The Cold Master is here. Sutingyu briefly recalled the plot of this online drama, and then replied. That's because they are master and apprentice. According to the etiquette in the play, the master is equivalent to the existence of the father. Naturally, father and daughter cannot be together. Otherwise, they will be despised by everyone in the world. Lucifer was still puzzled. Human beings are really nosy. Well, why do you say that, now that nothing happened? Sotingu asked with interest. Lucifer took a sip of the drink and said calmly, those two humans want to be together. It's their business, but other humans interfere. Isn't this nosy? That's right. Sotingu looked at Lucifer's wrinkled face, a little amused. How about changing to another drama? Lucifer heard this and shook his head. No, I want to finish reading. Okay, Lucifer, some of my friends are back, please be careful and don't get discovered, Sotingu warned. Now that the public beta is approaching, Sotingu doesn't want to cause any trouble. Friends, Lucifer tilted his head, you don't believe them? Sotingu shook his head, no, it's just that there are some things. If more people know about it, the risk of leaking the secret will naturally increase. Especially since you are such a small one now and your strength is limited, you can't be too ostentatious. It wasn't that Sotingu didn't trust Fatty and the others, but she didn't want Lucifer to wander around casually. Apart from Fatty and the others, there were many servants in the villa. On the one hand, they are afraid of causing trouble. On the other hand, it was also for Lucifer's safety. Oh, I know. Lucifer seemed to understand, turned his head, and continued to watch the TV series. She is right, you are not suitable to appear in front of outsiders now. The guy in his head spoke again, and Lucifer felt a little annoyed. Shut up, don't disturb me watching the drama. Lucifer learned the term binge drama from Sotingu these days. The voice suddenly became more helpless. Okay, I won't disturb you, but if you don't understand anything about watching dramas, you can ask me. It's very convenient, right? If there is really no comparison, there will be no harm. The little guy resisted himself too much. The human Sotingu had just met him and had never seen him before. He trusted and relied on him so much that he was somewhat off-putting. Hey, a child can only be coaxed and held in arms. Lucifer was in disbelief. Do you understand these human brain circuits? Certainly. That voice instantly became confident. I am a little older than you after all, and have come into contact with many human beings naturally. I am very aware of the twists and turns of those human beings. Lucifer frowned. Clear, then how did you end up with only a remnant of your soul? Ahem, that was an accident, just an accident. Cut. Lucifer curled his lips and ignored the guy in his mind. Although this guy has been around for as long as he can remember, Lucifer somehow felt very unhappy with this mysterious guy who was meddling with him. On the other side, Sotingu opened a mobile app and changed the shipping address of her purchase order to her own address in Shanghai. After finishing the order, Sotingu started packing her luggage. The next day, Sotingu and others left Gu's Manor and headed to the Magic City. After arriving in the Magic City, Gucci had other things to deal with, so he let Sotingu and Fatty move as they pleased, but they had to keep in touch at all times. Sotingu and Fatty discussed it together. The former proposed to go home, and the latter readily agreed. An hour passed. Sotingu pointed to the small seaside villa not far away. My home is in front of me. Boss, the environment here is very good, the fat man said with admiration. That's it? I've been choosing it for a long time. And at this time, there was a van parked near the door of Sotingu's house. In the driver's seat, a man wearing a hat was sitting, with a camera hanging in front of him. It should be here. The man picked up the phone, looked through the address book and found a number, and called it. After waiting for several seconds, the call was connected. Hello. It's me, the man said. Hey. Brother Dukian, is something wrong? I've arrived at the address you gave me last time. Are you sure it's here? Of course. I can't lie to you. I have noticed before that Sister Faye, the manager of Yew Angel Kiss, often haunts the villa area in this area. She does not live here, but her subordinates Angel Kiss is an artist. Think about it, who is she here for? When Jin Duokin heard this, he suddenly felt confident again. Okay. I'll believe you again. Okay, okay. After hanging up the call, Jin Duokin's eyes fell on the small villa in front of him again. Jin Duokin had checked almost all the villas in this area, and now, only the small villa in front of him was left. This is probably the rumored residence of Angel Kiss. Exclusive news, I'm coming. When Sutingyu and the others arrived at the door of the small villa, they found a sneaky figure wandering around. The fat man looked puzzled. Boss, why is there someone there? Is he your friend? Huh? Who is this? I don't know. Sutingyu blinked her big eyes, also confused. This face is very unfamiliar. Could it be Sister Faye's newly hired assistant? But this appearance is actually a bit ordinary. Sister Faye is a serious face control person, so she shouldn't find such an assistant, right? He's not a thief, is he? Sutingyu, let's go. Go over and have a look. Su heard the sound of Yudang's footsteps, walked over, and patted Jin Duokin's shoulder. What are you doing here? The sudden sound really startled Jin Duokin. He looked back and saw a little girl and a fat man, a strange combination. Who are you two? Don't hinder me from doing things, let's go for a walk. Jin Duokin felt that Sutingyu looked familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen him before. Are you a paparazzi? Sutingyu noticed the camera in Jin Duokin's hand at this time. Looking at his outfit, he accurately guessed the latter's occupation. What are you filming here? Are there any big stars here? Hearing this, Jin Duokin began to look at Sutingyu carefully. Could such an older girl be a fan of some celebrity? Chasing after your idol at your doorstep? Why don't you tell me about it? I know this area very well. Sutingyu expressed his excitement that he wanted to collaborate on big things. Jin Duokin didn't believe it. He had been investigating here for nearly 2 months, but he had never encountered Sutingyu. That's right. It's me. One of my cousins lives here, and I come here to play here occasionally during holidays. I don't say that I'm very familiar with it, but at least I know something about it. Sutingyu opened her mouth and started making up random things. Although the fat man didn't know why Sutingyu said that, he turned his face silently to avoid hiding his smile. Then do you know who the owner of this villa is? What he looks like? Where is he now? Jin Duokin asked dubiously. Oh. Find the owner of this villa. I know him. Sutingyu looked innocent and sweet. Jin Duokin's face lit up. Really? Then is he a boy or a girl? Female. When Jin Duokin heard this, he immediately felt that it was a good show. Although Angel Kiss has not appeared, it can be judged from the song's release that she is a girl. Jin Duokin asked eagerly, then what does she look like? Sutingyu thought for a moment, and then said with a fascinated look on her face, that's what he looks like, a fish sinks, a geese closes the moon, and the flowers are in shame. The country is beautiful, the city is beautiful, the ice mussels are jade bones, it's rare in the world, and it's like a fairy descending to earth. Is it really that exaggerated? Jin Duokin didn't believe it. How could there be such a perfect person? This little girl couldn't be talking nonsense, right? Of course, Sutingyu said righteously. I don't believe it, unless you take me to see her. Jin Duokin rolled his eyes and said. Sutingyu seemed to be aroused and said loudly, okay. Then you take it? I bring. Take it? Where is it? It's right here. For a moment, the two of them stared at each other. No, are you kidding me? Jin Duokin frowned. Sutingyu shook his head in denial. No, you saw it? What did you see? What did you say? It's really. Jin Duoqian cursed, feeling that he had been cheated. He turned around and left a few steps away. Suddenly, he stopped in his steps and turned back in an instant, staring in shock. Xiang Sutingyu, you. Me. What are you looking at me for? Sutingyu raised his chin slightly. It's not, you, me. Jin Duoqian finally remembered that he had really met Sutingyu. Just in May, he saw Sutingyu leaving on a bicycle at Yeyu's door. She is from Yeyu. An employee of Yeyu. But Jin Duoqian didn't see Sutingyu many times. If he were a normal employee, he would work from 9 to 5, except. Sutingyu took out her mobile phone, typed out a text message, and sent it. Then she turned to look at Jin Duoqian, who had a dull look on his face, and tilted his head. You're so weird. This person is right in front of you, and you're still leaving. This sentence is a disguised admission. You. Jin Duoqian's eyes widened. At this time, two men appeared out of nowhere and headed straight for Jin Duoqian. Hello, we are here to check the water meter. Please come with us. One of the men presented an ID, and then asked Jin Duoqian to leave with a semi-forceful request. The other person nodded to Sutingyu and then stared closely at Jin Duoqian to prevent him from escaping. Finally, a confused Jin Duoqian was taken away. After watching the play, Fatty was a little confused about the final scene. Boss, this is... Sutingyu looked innocent. I don't know, maybe that person parked the car randomly and got caught. Not only was Jin Duoqian's person taken away, but his car was also taken away. Is that so? Fatty always felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't explain it. Harm. Leave it alone. Fatty, come in. Sutingyu opened the door and invited Fatty to visit. Oh, okay. Fatty stayed at Sutingyu's house for a few hours and then left. Fatty also has real estate in Shanghai and a place to live. After the fat man left, Sutingyu released Lucifer and let him familiarize himself with the new environment, and then dialed a number on his mobile phone. How's it going? Sutingyu asked. Auntie, don't worry, we will provide this guy with ideological education. Well, I'm not worried about that. The only thing is, who is this guy? Oh, this is a paparazzi. He wants to dig up information about you. He has been eyeing you for a long time and is very persistent. We discovered it more than a month ago and found some tricks to get him into trouble. Who knew? This guy came out to seek death. I see, that's all right, you guys take care of it. After Sutingyu understood the situation, he hung up the phone. In the evening, Gucci called and said that he would leave the Magic City tomorrow and continue his journey south. Considering what Siepwu had said before, Sutingyu told Gucci that he would be waiting for someone. In the end, Sutingyu stayed alone in the Magic City. August 29th. Gucci and Fatty also left the Magic City. That night. Lucifer, go to sleep, stop looking. Sutingyu turned off the computer screen forcefully, and then put Lucifer back in the closet. Sleep and see you tomorrow. Lucifer said oh, grabbed the quilt, and covered himself. Sutingyu closed the closet, leaving a gap, and then went to take a shower and go to bed. Time passed bit by bit, and soon, 0 o'clock came. Sutingyu was sleeping soundly when he was suddenly awakened by the sound of an alarm. She opened her eyes and found that the alarm sound was actually coming from the panel, and the panel popped out with a large announcement popping up on it. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 937. Dear beta testers, please note that Parallel Paradise is about to launch its first phase of public testing this time. The participating players in the public beta are all humans on Blue Star. Public beta countdown, 47 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Sutinyu saw the last time, which really was to start on September 1st 2 days later. Dear players, please note that Parallel Park will be temporarily closed for 2 days during this period. The players' panel system will not be open and available. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. Countdown to closing, 10, 9, 8. Close it. Do you want a hammer? Being woken up, Sutinyu couldn't sleep for the time being. If the panel system is shut down, will Lucifer who comes out be forced back? Sutinyu immediately jumped out of bed and opened the closet. Lucifer was sleeping comfortably on the small bed. Sutinyu looked at the panel again, but his expression was stunned. Huh? Why did it stop? On the panel, the countdown stopped at the number 2, and there was no further movement for a long time. Sutinyu tentatively stretched out his hand, the interface switched, and everything in the panel system was as normal. What's going on? Sutinyu switched to the player forum and found that except for the posts that had already been posted, it was all quiet and no new posts appeared. What happened? Lucifer woke up in a daze. He was woken up by the guy in his head. Sutinyu subconsciously comforted her, it's okay, just keep sleeping. Lucifer glanced at Sutinyu for 2 seconds, as if to confirm, he said softly oh and lay back on the small bed. Sutinyu gently closed the closet, but the doubts in her heart still existed. Didn't you say turn off the panel? Why haven't you closed your panel yet? Will other people's panels be like this? I'll ask Fatty. He should be woken up by now. As soon as Sutinyu picked up her phone and was about to dial Fatty's number, the latter had already called him first. Sutinyu answered the call and heard Fatty's voice. Boss. Did you see the announcement on the panel? See, your panel can't be opened now. Yes, but that doesn't matter. What matters is what's outside. Boss. Go and look at the sky, the sky. The fat man's voice was rough, as if he had received a huge blow. Heaven, Sutinyu suddenly felt curious. She opened the curtains, opened the floor-to-ceiling windows, and walked out. Sutinyu looked up at the sky, and the next second, a look of deep astonishment appeared in her eyes. She murmured, "What is this?" At this moment, above the sky like splashing ink, a bright moon hangs high in the sky. With the silver light cast by the bright moon, Sutinyu could clearly see the huge black towers with triangular pointed characters standing in the sky, hanging without falling. There are countless tall towers visible to the naked eye, from far to near, stretching to the sky. Mom, what is that? Holy crap! What is that in the sky? A projection? Who is making a movie? Hey, hey, hey. Are you a demon? I'm reporting someone who is disturbing the residents late at night. They are casting a projection in the sky. All over the world, both those who have not slept in the nighttime zone and those who are active in the daytime zone have gradually discovered the giant triangular pyramids in the sky. Some were confused, some were surprised, some were panicked, some took out their mobile phones to take pictures. There is no doubt that it caused a global sensation. Boss. Boss. Are you still there? The fat man's shout came to his ears, which made Sutinyu come back to his senses. I'm here, Sutinyu responded. She remembered the panel and then asked, Fat man, can't you open the panel now? Yes, boss, all player panels cannot be opened now. Hearing this, Sutinyu blinked his big eyes, and with a thought, his panel popped up again. My panel is still not closed. Are all players closed? What about her? Boss, aren't all the things in the sky caused by games? Fatty asked. Sutinyu pondered for a moment, then replied, the panel has just been announced to be closed, and the countdown to the open beta has begun, and those triangular pyramids outside have appeared. Maybe there is some connection between them. Then this. It's okay, aren't there still 2 days left? And we are beta players, so we have an advantage over other people who don't know, Sutinyu said with relief, hearing the worry in Fatty's words. Yeah, I understand, boss. Hang up now. I'll go find you after I finish my work tomorrow. Good. Call ended. A gust of night wind blew by, and Sutinyu, who was only wearing short-sleeved pajamas, couldn't help but rub his arms and muttered, "Hey, why do you feel so cold? Temperature drops? Etc." Sutinyu realized something was wrong and quickly went back to the house to find the thermometer. 21 degrees Celsius. Sutinyu's eyes suddenly widened. How is that possible? This is the magical city in August. This kind of temperature only occurs in spring and autumn at most, but now, it is still a hot summer. Severe heat? It seems to have been too cool these days, and Sutinyu almost forgot that it was summer. Unusual. This is not normal. Sutinyu placed the thermometer on the bedside table without taking it back. She stared at the temperature number displayed on it and thought to herself, tomorrow, Xiaoyu is coming, I must ask him for details. Sutinyu lay back on the bed, tossed and turned for half an hour, and fell asleep again. 3 o'clock in the morning. Kyoto. Paranormal Research Institute. Siepuyu was having supper with a middle-aged man in his 50s or 60s. Siepuyu put down the bowl and chopsticks, looked at the person opposite, and said in a respectful tone, "Director Luo, it's time for all the staff of your research institute to evacuate." Luo Min finished his late-night snack and wiped his mouth with a tissue. "We have some important data on hand that need to be measured, but it only takes one night and we can evacuate tomorrow." "That's good." The two held the bowls and chopsticks, threw them into the storage box, and then left the canteen area together and headed to the research room. "Luo Min, during this period, I have worked hard on you and Shangguan girl to help us deal with complicated data. Fortunately, it's not hard." As soon as the two walked into the door of the research room, they came face to face with a researcher who looked panicked. "Director. Oh no. There is an important discovery." The researcher held a tablet in his hand and swiped the screen with his fingers, presenting the content on the tablet to the two of them. "Temperatures are dropping all over the world. They are dropping by about 0.5 degrees Celsius every hour, and snowfall has even occurred in the Tohoku region. If the temperature drop does not stop, in 2 days, the whole country, no, the whole world will be affected. Covered in ice and snow." "What? It's here so quickly?" Luo Min's expression instantly became solemn. "Although I received the news in advance, when the facts really appeared before my eyes, I was still shocked. This situation, could it be?" A bad guess suddenly emerged in Luo Min's mind. "Not good. This is the 5th ice age that has been brought forward." As soon as these words came out, all the staff in the research room were shocked. Siepuyu frowned. "Ahead of schedule? Isn't it expected that the 5th ice age will come in 200–300 million years? How come it is suddenly ahead of schedule?" So far, Blue Star has experienced 4 major ice ages. With each major ice age, Blue Star is no longer the beautiful star of the ocean, but a star of ice and snow that is completely devoid of life. Most of the creatures on the Blue Star cannot survive the extreme cold. It's probably, that damn game is the influence. Quick! Notify everyone. Let all departments be prepared. Originally, it was only predicted that the coming of the open beta would make Blue Star's living environment even worse, but never expected that it would directly enter the 5th ice age. The Great Ice Age. Can humans survive? Even if humans can survive, when necessities such as food and water are unavailable, humans will not be far from extinction. For a time, all the staff in the research room were busy nervously. Chinese time, August 30th, 2021. 8 in the morning. Sutinyu got up. After washing and dressing, Sutingyu took her keys and mobile phone and went out to buy breakfast. As soon as he went out, Sutingyu looked up and saw the triangular spire high in the sky. On the road, many pedestrians were also looking up at the tower, and some were still whispering and discussing the origin of the tower. After Sutingyu bought breakfast, she went to the nearest supermarket to stock up on some drinks for Lucifer. But who would have expected that many people gathered in front of the supermarket, all rushing to buy supplies? Over the past month, officials have revealed information bit by bit, first about the virus crisis, and then suggesting that people should not go out casually and stock up on supplies at home. Nowadays, with the emergence of the mysterious tower, many thoughtful people, combined with various abnormalities in recent times, have begun to speculate whether the world will suffer a catastrophe. Sutingyu relied on his strength to finally grab 2 boxes of drinks and then went home. When Sutingyu arrived at the door of his house, he received a call from the property management company in the villa area. "Hello, Miss Su, have you purchased a lot of goods online and a truckload of express delivery has arrived?" "Okay, I'll sign for it right now." Sutingyu left breakfast and drinks at home, and then went out again to pick up the express delivery. Sutingyu finished his breakfast first, then began to unpack the express delivery and stuffed all the materials inside into the storage ring. After finishing, Sutingyu went upstairs to find Lucifer. Sutingyu opened the door and heard the sound of the TV series. It turned out that it was Lucifer who had just woken up. Seeing that Sutingyu was no longer there, he got up by himself, turned on the computer skillfully, and then sat in front of the computer screen to catch up on the TV series he had not finished watching last night. Seeing that Sutingyu was back, Lucifer stretched out his hand to her out of habit. "Drink, drink." Hearing this, Sutingyu took out the 2 boxes of drinks from the storage ring and placed them on the ground. Afterwards, he unpacked and took out a few bottles, all of which were placed on the table so that Lucifer could take a drink at any time. Did he? At this time, Sutingyu received a new message on her mobile phone. She looked down and saw that it was from Siepuyu, saying that he would come to find her around noon. At noon, Sutingyu had just finished lunch. Not long after, the doorbell rang downstairs. Sutingyu went down to open the door and saw Jipuyu. Sutingyu glanced at the 2 faint dark circles on Jipuyu's face and said jokingly, "What's the matter? Insomnia?" Siepuyu shook her head and walked into the house. "I've been at the Supernatural Research Institute these days." Siepuyu found a seat and sat down. Sutingyu got straight to the point. "Tell me what you didn't finish in the previous call." Siepuyu pondered for 2 seconds and then spoke slowly. "The 5th Great Ice Age is coming, and global temperatures are continuing to drop. By the time the public beta begins, it is estimated that there will be no area in the world where snow will not fall." After learning this shocking news, Sutingyu was shocked. "The Great Ice Age? Are you talking about the Great Ice Age in history?" Siepuyu nodded. "At first, we learned from a mysterious person that when the public beta was launched, the global environment would also be affected, so we made preparations in advance and planned to move the entire population to the south where the environment is relatively better." "Wait. A mysterious man? Who is this man?" Siepuyu shrugged. "I don't know very well. I just know that he is an older man, and his surname seems to be Gu." "Gu?" Sutingyu was even more confused. "Okay, you don't have to think too much. A lot of preparations have been made above. There are still 2 days left, so we still have time to prepare." Siepuyu paused, and then there was a little pity in his voice. "It's just, the mall system has a lot of black technology to keep out the cold, but we can't bring out any game items that are too big." When Sutingyu heard this, he inevitably thought of his own panel again, and suddenly became confused again. "Should I say it or not? Do you want to say it?" Sutingyu has been struggling with this issue for nearly 3 months. In the end, Sutingyu made up his mind, bit his lower lip lightly, and asked, "Xiaoyu, Is there any player panel that can be opened now? Siepweo shook her head, no more. I haven't found any player whose panel can still be opened. Xiaoyu, look here. Sutingyu suddenly stretched out his finger and pointed in the air in front of him. What are you looking at? Siepweo was very puzzled, but the next second, his eyes were dull for a moment. Because, a player panel appeared in front of him. This is your panel. Sutingyu nodded, yes, mine. I don't know why, but my panel didn't close because of this, and what? Siepweo asked. Besides, I can also. Sutingyu said as he opened the inventory and took out a bottle of mineral water. The mineral water that appeared out of thin air fell on the table, and Siepweo felt even more unbelievable. You, dead fish, you wouldn't put the whole bottle of mineral water into your body, would you? Before Siepweo could finish speaking, Sutingyu immediately glared at the former. What are you thinking about? I took it out directly from the inventory. With that said, Sutingyu waved his hand and took out the second bottle of mineral water. This. The evidence was right in front of him. Now, Pweo couldn't help but not believe it. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 938. When did you discover this? Last night? Or? Sutingyu guiltily interrupted Siepweo's conjecture. I found that the panel was not turned off last night, so I tried it out of curiosity, and it turned out that it worked. Wow. Stop guessing, stop guessing. Guess again, the little fairy has no panties anymore. What's going on with you? Why are you the only one doing something special? Siepweo said playfully. Sutingyu's eyes rolled slightly. Maybe, it's related to my last copy of the token. Siepweo raised her eyebrows slightly. A copy of the token? Yes, Sutingyu said firmly. You also know that the world of the token copy is the real world. I met the gods in that world and gained the favor of the gods. Perhaps, the gods changed something in the dark. Siepweo stared at Sutingyu closely. He always felt that the latter was talking nonsense. God. This is unscientific. Is parallel paradise itself very scientific? Are people with supernatural abilities very scientific? Sutingyu quickly replied. Siepweo was immediately speechless. 2. Seeing that he had successfully deceived everyone, Sutingyu changed the subject. Don't worry about why I can take out the game items. Didn't you just say that there are many game items in the mall to keep out the cold? I can take them out now. Yes, Siepweo's face was happy, but the next second, he hesitated again. The game items in the exchangeable mall require game coins. How many game coins can you have to redeem them by yourself? Huh? Then. Sutingyu took a look at the game coins he now owned. In addition to the existing game coins at the end of the original closed beta, the game items picked up in the summer vacation copy were entrusted to Chibubi to help her deal with them. During the time when Sutingyu went to Yin Yang Star, Chibubi he traded the exchanged game currency to her. Finally, add some rewards from token copies. Sutingyu gave a number. I now have 1.2 million game coins. Too little, wait a minute. Isn't it 120,000 game coins? Siepweo's always smart mind was rarely stuck for a moment. Sutingyu's expression was very innocent. She nodded. It's 1.2 million, but to be more precise, it's 1,250,550 game coins. I just erased the zero. Erase, directly erased more than 50,000 game coins? Are you sure you're not kidding me? Sutingyu shook his head. No, but 1.2 million is indeed a bit less, and I feel like it's not enough to exchange for anything good. Listen. Is this what people say? Siepweo was immediately speechless. See you, tell the truth. Did you go to rob the copy? No, Sutingyu said righteously, I am so kind and lovely, and a good player who abides by the rules. How could I do something like robbery, which violates the rules and does not respect martial ethics? Siepwiu, okay, okay. Siepwiu calmed down and asked solemnly, although the number of game coins you have is a bit exaggerated, it is true, it can't be exchanged for many, but it can be exchanged for one kind of game prop. Damn fish, do you take it seriously? Are you willing to contribute your game currency for free? I don't want to. Sutingyu's tone was very decisive. Siepwiu. Sutingyu clapped her fingers and made a small calculation. I didn't say full contribution. I will donate at most half of the game coins free of charge, which is 600,000. I will only lend out the remaining 600,000 temporarily. Then you guys give it back to me. Okay, Siepwiu breathed a sigh of relief. This was the Sutingyu he knew. If the latter really gave it away for free, he would doubt whether the person in front of him was a fake. I'm going to negotiate with the superiors first. In the past few months, the superiors have secretly established a game finance bureau, which has accumulated a lot of game coins that players within the system have handed over for free, as well as collected some game coins that violate social order. Players probably have tens of millions of game coins, but it's a pity that they can't be cashed out, so they have to use them all. When the public beta starts and you can open the panel, your 600,000 game coins will be returned to you immediately. When Sutingyu heard that there were tens of millions of game coins, he immediately clicked his tongue. Be good. This is only the game currency reserve of China, one of the 5 major Blue Star countries, and other countries must have similar reserves. If they are added up, tisk tisk. But now that the public beta is about to begin, the player panel is closed, and the game coins inside cannot be used. It is equivalent to the freezing of bank funds in the real world, and the gold and silver cannot be used. After the two quickly negotiated, Siepwiu immediately contacted the relevant people and reported Sutingyu's matter. The people above were very excited when they heard it. Good thing. It was approved immediately. In less than 2 hours, someone sent an agreement, clearly written in black and white. After Sutingyu read it and made sure there was nothing wrong, he signed his name. Afterwards, Sutingyu selected game items in the mall system according to the list sent by a special person. In the end, all 1.2 million game coins were spent, leaving only 50,550 game coins. Sutingyu went to the local Mystery Bureau branch in Magic City. After arriving at the appropriate area, he took out the newly exchanged game items from the inventory. Game items appeared out of thin air one by one, and the staff who came to the scene to see them with their own eyes looked excited. With these game items, you will have an extra layer of safety when the Ice Age comes. Miss Su, thank you for your generous donation and taking care of the country's worries. Luo Min, the director of the Supernatural Research Institute, was also qualified to appear at the scene and expressed his gratitude to Sutingyu repeatedly. This is what I should do. Sutingyu smiled on his face, but he still felt a little guilty in his heart. After all, it was only now that he was willing to confess. If it had been announced earlier, the tens of millions of game coins from the Finance Bureau could be exchanged for game items and brought into the real world. Don't worry, we all see your contribution. In the near future, you will also receive a high degree of protection and attention. Luo Min has rich experience and can somewhat see Sutingyu's concerns. Therefore, in front of everyone, he gave a guarantee to Sutingyu. Ahem, Director Luo, you are highly respected, so you should just call me by my name. Sutingyu felt that he couldn't bear it when a national treasure level figure called him by each honorific. Ha ha ha, that's good. Luo Min agreed cheerfully. Xiao, do you want to stay in the mysterious bureau? Sutingyu shook his head slightly. No, I still like to stay at home. Besides, she has a Lucifer at home. Okay. Luo Min didn't force it, but secretly thought in his heart that he must make it clear to his superiors and send some capable people to protect Sutingyu personally. After saying goodbye to Luomin and Siepu and the others, Sotingyu came out of the mysterious bureau and was escorted home. As soon as he returned home, Sotingyu could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Now that everything had been explained, Sotingyu no longer felt guilty. As soon as Sotingyu went upstairs, she heard a rustling sound coming from the refrigerator. Sotingyu walked over and took a look, and saw that Lucifer's entire body was stuck into the refrigerator. "What are you looking for?" Sotingyu said. Lucifer turned his head and looked, withdrew his two small hands and folded them in front of him. "There are no more drinks." Sotingyu was slightly startled. "Isn't it right? Have you finished drinking again?" Lucifer raised his head. "More." "Save your drinks." Sotingyu waved his hand, and the two boxes of drinks stored in the storage ring appeared on the ground. When Lucifer saw this, he flew down and landed on top of the drink. Lucifer looked left and right, and finally looked at his little hands, and suddenly felt a little confused. "I can't seem to move two boxes of drinks now." Therefore, Lucifer naturally called Sotingyu and said, "Drinks, take them back." Okay, you're a cutie. Everything you said is right." Sotingyu picked up Lucifer with one hand and put away the two boxes of drinks with a wave of his hand. After entering the room, Sotingyu took out two boxes of drinks and unpacked them so that Lucifer could come and get new drinks at any time. Sotingyu used drinks and TV shows to stroke Lucifer whenever he got the chance, just like a kitten. Sotingyu had no idea that a high-level meeting was taking place against her. Big bosses from all parties were gathering together using their computers to watch videos. At this time, arrangements for Sotingyu were being intensely discussed. "How could your mystery bureau just let such a special talent back?" The director of the science bureau had a slightly sullen face, with a hint of dissatisfaction in his tone. The director of the mysterious bureau asked, "If you don't put it back, what else do you want to do? Don't forget, everyone, she is from the Non-Order Research Institute. According to the rules of the Non-Order Research Institute, non-order members should be given maximum authority and freedom without endangering society and the people." Lin Wuxia, as the newly appointed director of the Institute of Irregularity for a few years, also attended this meeting. The director of the Science Bureau sighed, "I don't want to do anything, but if I can have that little girl's cooperation, maybe I can withdraw the funds from the Finance Bureau in advance." Everyone present is clear about what the funds here represent. "Ha! Is it just this kind of plan, or is there something else on your mind?" "You know it yourself," Luomin suddenly snorted coldly and replied unceremoniously. "What we are facing now is far beyond the scope of human civilization's understanding. It cannot be analyzed clearly through a short period of research." "How will you know if you don't try?" another gray-haired old man said slowly. Luomin suppressed anger on his face, under high-sounding excuses, "Using a research that is destined to have no effect, you are trying to illegally imprison and harm our compatriots. Lose a tongue, you must be tired of living. Luomin, don't spit on others. Then do you dare to swear to heaven? Do you swear to the luck and inheritance of your descendants of the Lu family? You." At this time, a middle-aged elegant man who had been silent from beginning to end spoke to stop the argument. "Okay, stop arguing. First of all, Sotingyu is willing to sacrifice personal interests in exchange for social and collective interests. This is a deed worthy of praise and recognition. Secondly, Sotingyu is a citizen of China. As long as it does not violate the laws of China, her own safety and freedom are protected by the laws of China. No one can do anything that harms the safety and freedom of Chinese citizens for any reason. Matter. Everyone, do you have any objections to this?" Lin Wuxia was the first to answer, "The Institute of Non-Order has no objections." Luomin, the Supernatural Research Institute has no objection. The Bureau of Mystery has no objections. The Finance Bureau has no objection. The Political and Legal Affairs Bureau has no objection. The Security Bureau has no objection. The elegant middle-aged man continued. However, we must take Sutingyu's own safety seriously. In addition, all information about her must be strictly guarded and absolutely not leaked. Let's do this. We will dispatch manpower for round-the-clock personal protection. As for the candidates, they will be selected by the Special Forces area. The head of the Special Forces district responded immediately, "Yes, I promise to complete the mission." In the face of a catastrophe, the people of China should unite and work together to overcome this unprecedented crisis. All internal strife are undesirable, stupid, and irrational. The middle-aged man's words sounded like an alert and a warning, and everyone present felt their hearts tremble in unison. Then, the middle-aged man specifically named the Science Bureau and the Biology Bureau. Director Wu and Director Liu, both of them have worked hard and forgotten about food and sleep to find out the source of this disaster. Society and the people will remember your contribution. But our original intention of working so hard is just to better protect our compatriots. The two people who were carrying Luo Min earlier were shocked, with a trace of embarrassment on their faces. And that little girl has the same Yan Huang blood flowing in her body that has never been cut off in China for thousands of years. We should give her a high degree of trust and respect, the middle-aged man finally sighed. Yes, I got distracted for a moment. The words that sounded like reproach and advice made the two of them blush. Then let's do this for now. You all have important things to deal with at hand. Let's adjourn the meeting. Magic City. What? Sutingyu opened his eyes slightly. Siepui's voice came from the cell phone that was being called. Yes, you heard it right. The higher UPS have decided that someone will be sent here to protect you. Protect me? That's not necessary, right? Sutingyu's first reaction was to refuse, and then she tried to negotiate. Besides, there are people around me. Siepui explained, it's different from Deputy Wang and others. They need the kind of personal protection. Sutingyu glanced at Lucifer, who was watching the show, and felt embarrassed. No need. You must agree to this matter. Siepui's attitude was very firm, because the specialness you suddenly revealed is taken very seriously by the higher UPS, and some even want to use you as a guinea pig for research.